families all over the place. We were talking about men and women, and somebody asked me a question, and I brought up a strong 7. And I said, if you're a man out there and you want to be happy, you want a strong 7. The 10, no, she's a 10. It's too much drama. Okay. The 9 thinks she's a 10. That's too much drama. The 8 already knows that she's probably a 9. So even though it's not as much drama, it's still going to cause you some issues. But the 7, the strong 7, knows that she's beautiful enough. She's smart enough. She brings enough to the table. But in the same breath, her ego is not out of control to the point where it will force your ego to infiltrate the proceedings and nothing gets accomplished. That was my argument for a strong 7. Ebony K. Williams, was I correct in my assessment?
Where is it? I vehemently agree with the strong 7 argument.
But you vehemently what?
I vehemently agree.
Agree.
That the strong 7 is best positioned. I'll go further. She's best positioned, Stephen A., to partner with the I don't want to say average. People get mad when I say average or mediocre. You know, they get real mad. She's best positioned to partner with the majority of available. How about that? The majority of available men. And it's for all the reasons you said. And I actually identified this in my early 20s, like coming out of law school. And I realized that some of the things that myself and my female counterparts were priding ourselves on, being really, really well educated, being very well accomplished, being pretty, but like pretty in a way that society deems is particularly valuable, because we know there's actual pretty and then there's kind of marketability, if you will, the kind of objective standard. And those things really just did not translate on the dating marketplace. And imagine how perplexed some of us were. But I said to my girlfriends long ago, I said, y'all, all of this 9s and 10s, we might be in that space, even 8s. It's not going to serve us the competitive advantage when it relates to our sisters, who I'm even going to say 6 and 7s. Why? Because you got to really look at what the market, and we're talking about, and this is through a hetero lens, of course, this is what men want. What do men really want, Stephen A.? I'm going to say some things and I want you to confirm or deny.
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right here just because I want to interject something. I'm going to try not to start and stop. I just want to give my my opinion like here and there. But basically, just from this particular part of the conversation in which she's talking to him, right? And she's saying, you know, that her education and maybe her and her friends being 8, 9s, and 10s, you know that they don't have the advantage in the dating market to women who are maybe less educated and less attractive to them because of what men would want. And I think this is kind of interesting because although we do talk about, like, you know, somebody who's a 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever the case is, strong 7, I think that there's also parts of the conversation that need to be talked about as well, because you have some women who are just strikingly beautiful who do not know that. Right, who might be maybe a little bit more insecure, who might not have that air or arrogance within them, just because maybe other people might look at them and say, "Hey, oh my gosh, you should model. You're aesthetically beautiful." There's a good portion of women who don't know that. In my opinion, I think that a lot of the women who are on the maybe lower end of the scale, who are maybe 5, 6, 7, they are the ones who end up tending to overestimate the way that they actually look. Because in the space that we're in right now, I just have to be completely honest, we're in the space now where there's a lot of women who are, you know, putting on the aesthetic or the things that they believe would make them an 8, 9, or 10, and completely transforming themselves into this egotistical way of being. But when you actually look at them and you say, okay, this is a natural, 9 on the scale, and if we take all of the additives off, you might not be that high on the scale as you've inflated yourself to be when it comes to just image. So I think sometimes the looks thing, I do understand, but I think that sometimes that can be a little bit diluted, because in my opinion, a lot of the people that we see running rampant and talk about, oh, well, you need to do this and you need to do that for me. And, oh, these men need to pay all my bills and these men need to do all these things. If we look at them and we're judging on, like what she's saying, on like a marketable scale, where would we actually say that they are, again, minus the additives?
confirm or deny.
Sure. I'll do that for you. I'll do that for you.
I really invite that.
I'm ready.
I think men want to be affirmed. I think men want energy that is agreeable. I think men want, generally speaking.
Yes.
This is all general.
Generally speaking,
I think men want women who are available. And what I mean by that is their schedules, their literal schedules. When I pull out my phone and you pull out yours, it's not 3 weeks.
Oh, we're not taking This ain't Boomerang with Eddie Murphy. You're not putting us on the waiting list and we wait. Oh, we don't need you. We don't need you. Oh, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. No, you're absolutely right.
So some of these are the things that men are most desirous of, and no, you can't be so unattractive that you get kicked out the bed. Let's be clear. Right. But as long as you said it, pretty enough, attractive enough, those other things are going to supersede in terms of what the man wants.
I want to say this, right? I think this, ladies, if you don't hear nothing else, okay, I really, really want you to hear this. What I'm saying right now. You see, one of the biggest issues, and I know this might sound kind of crazy, but I'm going to elaborate and tell you exactly what I mean by what I'm saying. But one of the biggest issues that we have right now in the space that we're in when it comes to women and men and women, getting on a man's page and men finding women who they're going to be compatible with. I think that one of the biggest problems is that women keep going ahead and trying to create this narrative of what they think a man wants, right? They keep emphasizing what men want. Oh, well, a man wants this. A man wants somebody who can cook and clean. A man wants this. A man wants all these things. And I'm going to say, one, a lot of the people who are saying that, they don't even really know what men want, because sometimes, most of the time, okay, your results will express what men want. What I mean by that is sometimes there's women who are saying all these things of what men want, what men think, what men desire, what men need, what men, and they're telling other women and they're telling their friends like, oh, this is what men want and this is what they desire. But at the end of the day, you are going off of a blanket statement. You see, when you have an actual relationship with somebody, or when you've dealt with somebody for a really long time, your counterpart, the ideal counterpart that you actually want. Not the yes man, not the somebody that hooked you up with somebody else and you just did it because you didn't want to be lonely for a season. When you actually are in the space of the ideal man that you want to be with, just being in that situation alone will reveal to you what men actually want. I feel that a lot of women emphasize on what they think men want instead of what a woman should be. That's very, listen, a lot of women focus on what they think men want instead of what a woman should be. You see, the focal point being on a man directly is not an issue. You see, when you're growing up and you want to make sure that you are, understanding, that you understand the man's way of thinking, that you understand a man's mindset, that you understand certain things, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think that a lot of women are so focused and then they end up competing with the man that they say that they want because they never took the time to understand what it means to be the counterpart for that man. Oh, a man wants a woman who's agreeable. A man wants a woman who, has time for him. A man wants a woman who does this. And in this short list that she provided, I don't know if she's going to provide more, but just in this very short list that she provided, she did not provide the very thing that they actually require. Before everything, even before the imagery, it's the respect. That's, first of all, that's number one on the list. Let me wait because I was going to say something else, but let me just wait. Let me press play. I'm going to let her continue and then I'll interject again in a second.
Now, I will say this is sorry. I'm just going to give myself 8 and above. I'm going to just do that.
You should.
I'm going to just do that.
I co-sign that.
Okay.
I co-sign that.
Okay. I believe that I'll speak for myself. I am acutely aware, Stephen A., of the adjustments that I would need to make in order to be more desirable on the dating market.
Well, may I ask what are those adjustments?
Oh, well,
I'm just asking. You brought it up.
I did.
You did say
it would be some of the things we mentioned, right? Like right. I would need to make more time. Mm-hmm. I can imagine what your schedule looks like. Right. Mine might not look. It doesn't look identical, but it's probably not far off at this point. I tape a show on the West Coast. Last time I saw you, where were we?
Yeah,
in the air.
Flying back from LA.
We were literally in the air. We were 30,000 feet in the air.
That's right.
So there's a bi-coastal lifestyle issue that I think would need some attention if I was to really get serious about trying to partner right now. There is an intensity that I'm a very serious-minded woman, right? I deal with serious issues on a daily basis.
A dingbat can't be with you. It ain't gonna work. He got to have some level of intellect. He don't have a chance.
And honestly, even if I wanted to give him a chance, which I have done historically, don't tell nobody, I really wouldn't be as attracted. There's something about the attraction. You know, if you, there's a primalness to, especially when we talk about heterosexual men and women, there's a primalness to how we are attracted to one another.
Okay, I just have to say this. I understand that if he has her on his program as a man, I think it might be a little rare for a man to get a woman on their program, and especially somebody who he might be friends with, and, tell her that she's not an 8 or she's not a this or she's not a that or whatever, because they're having a conversation. Just like when, Nicki Minaj went on KS's podcast on his channel, and they were talking, and he gave her like a high score number. A lot of people were upset about that. It's because they're trying to continue the conversation. I don't believe, unless you have somebody who just cutthroat and just gonna take it, verbatim and just tell them like it is. It's rare that they're probably going to give them a very low number, like, in the aspect of this, somebody who is a celebrity, somebody who is out there in the space. And also, I'm not sure exactly how old she is. I don't think that she's an unattractive woman, Eboni K. Williams. I don't think that she's unattractive. However, I think that the rating in which she's giving herself, she's still conflating with her knowledge or with the things that have nothing to do with imagery. Just imagery alone. If we were to put you somewhere and then put, certain models on the same scale, where do you think that you would fit in? Would you still feel that you're an 8? Would you still feel that you're like 8, 9, 10? Like, just imagery alone. Another thing I wanted to touch on very quickly before I get back into it is kind of feeding off of what I was saying before. Again, with a lot of women, they have in their mindset, and I think that this is what overcomplicates things. They overcomplicate things, and they end up actually standing in their own way of actually getting into a relationship and maintaining a relationship. You see, when it comes to the word agreeable, it does not mean that every single thing that he says, you're going to say, yes, I agree. That's not what being agreeable means. It means that he is him being the leader. You can come and you might have certain suggestions, certain opinions, certain ideas. It does not mean that you become a mute when you have to be in a relationship with a man. It's that you are educated in how you voice your opinions, in how it comes across, in how you say what you say, and again, in how you disagree. These are things that are vital keys. Oh yeah, he want me to cook. He want me to clean. He want me to this. He want me to that. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of men who, yes, they would love if their wife can cook and clean. But a woman who respects that man, honors that man, knows her place within the relationship, does not overstep boundaries, does not disrespect him. She trumps all the women. That's how there could be a woman who's in a relationship with a man, and some people will be like, the 8, 9, or whoever will be looking like, oh, why he with her? He knows why. Because what you're looking at and what you're trying to shame him about, he's like, I have something that, all that stuff ain't get me nowhere. You could be fine wine, shaped like a brick house. But if the respect is not there, then what exactly does he have? And again, I have to say one more time before we get right back into it. You have to figure out what being a woman entails. What does femininity entail? Because once you are truly aligned with your true feminine nature as a woman, a lot of these other things will just naturally fall into place. You will naturally be more understandable, compassionate, empathetic, agreeable. You will naturally know your space. You will naturally know, when to say something and when not to say something. You will naturally know how to move with your masculine counterpart. You will automatically be the balance.
In order for me, who still very much, despite my intensity and my intellect and all this, kind of what we would consider masculine alpha shit. Right, excuse me, I don't know if I can cuss on here.
You can. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I'm still you've known me for a long time. You've known me almost 10 years, Steve, today. I am still very much very feminine, very soft in many ways, and I'm still like a Southern belle in a lot of capacities. I'm born and raised in North Carolina. Let's go. So those things still, that receptacle energy is still very real for me. So now I need a masculine energy that can just almost overperform.
And you know what it is too, if I may say this right.
I'm not trying to cut off too much, guys. I'm just going to say this one quick thing, okay? This is the point. You see, femininity would not require anything, really. Femininity would not say, I need you to overperform, or I'm at the space right now where I don't even want to deal with that. I'm not ready for this because, I'm so focused on this. He would have to step up and just be, because, I'm all the things. It's just, he needs to come on his part. Are you sure you're all the things? Are you sure? Because I think you really find out who you are and what you're made of when you're with your counterpart. They will expose you how feminine you truly are. They will expose to you how soft you truly are. Because all it takes is for them to say one thing that goes against what you feel or what you want or what you think. And then here come the dragon.
Women need to know this. Women need to know this. Okay. So. All right. First of all, you gotta allow a man to be a man. Here's what I mean by that.
Please.
You have a lot of women out there who don't want to be quote unquote objectified. You don't want a man looking at you and he desires what he sees. That's what they say. A lot of.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. And I'm going like this. So you want him not to desire what he's looking at when he looks at you? What kind of sense does that make? And not only that, don't get me wrong, he don't need to be classless. He don't need to approach you and be too forward.
Let me just be clear, whoever's listening, that's not my issue.
Right.
You know this about me, I think.
Yes, I do.
I'm a pageant queen, for God's sakes.
Right.
I pride myself on one of the things, in fact, there are also men, since we're going to do this, that pretty stuff don't mean that much to them.
Right.
It just don't. It's like you say, pretty enough, that's fine. If you are a man that average to a slightly above average aesthetic works for you, I am not your woman.
Right.
I'm not. Because I am for a man who values probably 9 out of 10 times when we walk into the room, you've probably got the prettiest lady on your arm. Yeah. And that doesn't mean
but
something.
You can pull that off.
Wait, hold up. She said if you're a man who values a woman who is natural to around, average or whatever, not too far above average, you just want like a regular woman, you don't need her to be a 10, you don't need her to be, the belle of the ball, then she's not the woman for you, because she needs a man who wants only he only wants to be with a 10. What? Let me that can't be what she just said. That can't be what she just said. Let's rewind it back.
Does that make? And not only that, don't get me wrong, he don't need to be classless. He don't need to approach you and be too forward.
Let me just be clear, whoever's listening, that's not my issue.
Right.
You know this about me, I think.
Yes, I do.
I'm a pageant queen, for God's sakes.
Right.
I pride myself on one of the things, in fact, there are also men, since we're going to do this, that pretty stuff don't mean that much to them.
Right.
It just don't. It's like you say, pretty enough, that's fine. If you are a man that average to a slightly above average aesthetic works for you, I am not your woman.
Right.
I'm not. Because I am for a man who values probably 9 out of 10 times when we walk into the room, you've probably got the prettiest lady on your arm. Yeah. And that doesn't mean
but
something.
You can pull that off.
Right.
I can't hold most women accountable for that, because most of them can't pull it off like that.
I understand. And those are but you asked me what adjustments would I make?
Right.
Those are some of the adjustments. I would consider men, because I know that's one of my, it's like cards. You know your strong suit.
Right.
That's one of my strong suits.
But where I was going was this. I wasn't just talking about, I didn't mean objectified in a literal sense. I'm talking about you being a guy.
Yeah.
You coveting what you see. You wanting to be turned on by your significant other. You wanting to feel as if you're married, but you want to feel like you felt when you were dating. You don't want to feel like monotony and mundaneness is kicked in, and you're just going through the regular rigmarole of life, and it's devoid of excitement, suspense, intrigue, or whatever word might be appropriate in that regard.
It better be you,
right?
because if it's not you,
it's going to be somebody else.
Somebody else. Yeah. So I think that is an issue on its own, and that's on an island. I think for more women like myself and how I'm describing these 8s and above, we got that part, most of us, in terms of we're going to make you, that attraction piece is something that we're going to put energy into, because we know that's how we got you. Right? Okay? I think it's the intensity. I think it's the constant. Okay. One of the best things I think about me, Stephen A., as a friend, as a romantic partner, as a daughter, even to my mother. If you are interested in being the very best version of yourself, I'm a very good person to have in your life.
Yes.
So she is in the 8, 9, 10 category. She can't be with a man who does not value looks at the forefront. She is the type of woman, she's perfect in her femininity. She is the type of woman who is an asset to have in his life, to help him be the best version of himself. She's all of the things that would benefit a man. So my only question is, one, I believe that she might be in her 40s. I don't want to say older than that because I'm not sure and I don't want to disrespect anybody, but I think she might be like in her late 40s or so, mid to late 40s. And so if you are all of the things, you mean to tell me that from the time that you were young till now, there's nobody at all that could possibly have fit into that category for you? There's nobody that believes the things about you that you believe about yourself that has invested into you in that way? I have more to say. Let me press play though. I want her to continue.
Because you'll push her.
I'm gonna push you.
You'll push her.
I'm gonna push you.
Right.
Everybody don't like to be pushed. And I don't think in the romantic context, I've learned in real time that it is super appreciated from your romantic partner.
But the other part to that is knowing when. Like, for example,
you're right. Okay.
You got to know, because as a man, what we value is when you know us and we don't have to tell you. You've been around us long enough. You figured us out. You didn't just spend moments enjoying us. You actually studied us, got to know us, have a mastering of us to some degree where we don't have to tell you. You know, you might, you know when we want to go out. You know when we're not interested in going out. You know when we want to get down. You know when we don't want to. You have an idea of who he is without him having to tell you, because it tells him you've paid attention to what works for him, which elevates his level of faith in you that you will ultimately figure things out and y'all will flow along more smoothly than not.
I love that. And I think that most women need to spend more time with that figuring out piece. And I would also declare, Brother Stephen A. Smith, that the chief complaint that I know I felt in my relationship, because this is the problem. I've never had a problem attracting men. I believe you believe that.
I believe that.
Okay.
I believe that.
What I find has happened historically is that men are very attracted, not just to the aesthetic, but also even to, we'll call it the resume, right? They like what it looks like, what it presents like. And then they actually get to know me. And they realize they actually are fans, right. If I can just be totally honest with you. Okay. They're fans. They respect it. They look up to it. Oftentimes it's something they find aspirational, but they don't really know how to engage in it on a daily basis.
But you know why that is, right?
Please tell me.
Because you're not a fool. Your level of intellect, your principled position.
That's it right there.
The combination of the two things. There's certain things dudes just ain't getting away with. And if you run across a woman that it is clear as day, you got no shot at getting away with the nonsense, you're like, damn, path of easiest resistance.
Yeah.
More men than not all
not
men,
all.
but more men than not
I think that's
will
right.
take a path of easiest resistance.
And I don't fault them. That's why what you don't hear me doing is being on these YouTube streets and Instagram streets complaining about it. I recognize that because I choose that principal position, and this is the same ailment, if you will, Stephen A., that I suffer professionally.
Right.
You know, there's shows that I've
Yes.
been in the ring for
That's
that
right.
some people in this room didn't know.
That's right.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
That's right. We ain't got to say anything, but we know it's true. Absolutely.
But because of that principle thing, my mom get mad about it. She's like, girl, you know how much money you leave on the table with them damn principles. But and she's not wrong.
She's not wrong.
And how many men might be on the table, so to speak. To your point, I believe you're 100% correct. But I just this is where my faith kicks in, just to kind of wrap it on up. This is where I believe what God has for me is for me, and it will never miss me. I truly believe that. Not a job, not a show, and not a divine life partner.
Right.
That man is out there. He will find me. I don't have to go looking for him, and he'll find me on God's time, not on my time.
How about that?
So we'll go with that.
Okay, let me start with, let me just back it up. Let me back it up. Is it your principles? Is it your standards? Or is it the fact that you are chasing perfection? Because there are a lot of people, and this is the line when it comes to how sometimes the women who get their degrees and go through college and are overly educated, sometimes that same intelligence can work against you in the emotional aspect of your lives. Because just because you are able to critically think or analyze or critique, it does not mean that you are able to tap into that emotional side of yourself that is going to assist you when it comes to getting into relationships. I think that a part of the conversation basically stating that it's hard for her to find a relationship because most men out there, majority, this is something that Stephen A. said and that she agreed with, that the majority men out there are quote unquote not on her level. I think that's, I would have to disagree with that. I think that would be speaking and saying that the majority of men are unintelligent. Because if you are looking for intelligence, we can pull up the stats about degrees and all the above. I mean, if you're looking for finance, if you're looking for somebody who has that level of intellect. But in my opinion, I think that sometimes there are women who, especially when they go by the book, right? I'm going to school for this many years. I'm studying this subject. I'm studying that. They get so overly, deep into the semantics, that they get a pen and a paper out and they start writing down a whole 10-page letter of a list of criteria that a man has to meet for them to be in a relationship with him, or for them to be married, or whatever the case is. And sometimes you can definitely be missing the mark. I mean, I understand, I definitely believe what is for you is yours, but I also believe that you can't have it if you don't get up and go for it. I strongly believe that. I think that you have the ability to not, do whatever it is, or strongly delay the process by not acting on the things that you're supposed to, because things can't just drop out the sky and be given to you. There has to be an urge. There has to be a fire. What is it saying? That faith without works? You have to have the works. It got to meet. 1 + 1 = 2. It's the faith and the works, and then, you know what I'm saying? So in my personal opinion, again, I have to say, I feel that there's a lot of emphasis on how great you are and how perfect you are and how much work you don't need to do and how it has to be the other person. And sometimes that's where a lot of women are missing the mark, because there's always more, there's always room for improvement. There's always spaces that you can learn and grow from. You might be, I'm just going to use her words. She said she's an 8. She's in the 8, 9, 10 category. Okay, that might be it. You might have the looks down packed, but you might be lacking something else. Maybe you're so you're not soft in the area of being caring and compassionate and loving. Maybe it's the fact that you are, I gotta be real, egotistical. Maybe you're so focused on you and how great you are and how much you know and how smart you are and how the level of intelligence that you have and what you're good at. Maybe you need to focus on the opposite way and try to find the things that maybe you could work on. Because all the things that you're saying that you can add all these things to somebody's life. You can do this, you can do that. You are the full package. But you were just around the other day telling oh yeah, I would never date no bus driver. What if that's your husband? Not because you have a certain degree means that your husband is supposed to have that same degree or higher. Sometimes it's interesting because sometimes there might be a space of humility that is required. And maybe that's the level that you're supposed to be looking through the gaze of or working on. I'm not saying necessarily this woman because I don't know her, but I'm definitely talking to the other women out there. Sometimes you think that you got it all together. You think when you go to the bathroom, it smells like perfume and roses. You think that, everything you have is a full package. And sometimes it's because your picker is broken. And why is your picker broken? What is it that you're attracted to? Are you attracted to the men who like a multitude? Are you attracted to the man who everybody wants? And now you got to go stand in line and compete with women who are also way younger than you, who don't have the college degree and all that kind of stuff. Are you putting yourself in those spaces? Are you being realistic with your options? Nothing wrong with having faith or anything like that, but are you also being realistic? Another thing I thought was very interesting was that she called him a fan. She was like, them. Sorry. She said that she'd get with them and like basically they're a fan of hers and stuff like that. And this is why when I have the conversation and I say that a woman should love a man more and I get all the backlash. Oh, no, that's not true. He's the one that's supposed to be with you. He's supposed to love you more. He's supposed to do this. It's not necessarily a competition, but I'm talking about in terms of it going the long haul. Because you see, when it comes to relationships, as a woman, it's important that for the respect. Listen, women already have a hard time knowing their place. I just got to keep it real. You can give a woman an inch and she gonna take a whole mile. You give her a little bit of peace and she gonna take the whole pie. Okay, you give her a little bit of authority, she gonna act like she run the whole show. So when a woman is in a relationship with a man, the level of esteem and respect that she has for him, when a woman loves a man more. When a woman is really engaged, when she's really, just, oh gosh, I just love this man. It tends to lead to different results because that woman will try. Again, women still get ahead of themselves. They still start tripping. They still be bugging out maybe years down the line, but they will put their best foot forward because they understand the quality of man they have and the opportunity to be with such man. They understand that. When you get with men because you want them to buy you roses all the time and, to tell you how beautiful you are and stroke your ego, it might seem like, oh yeah, this is good because I can get him to marry me. But at the end of the day, you're going to get tired of that after a while. Because a lot of women do. They just wake up one day and talk about, oh, the spark is gone. Why are they saying that? Because that equal attraction is not there. What a lot of women don't want other men to know is that most of the time when a man is showing too much love or adoration, the woman tends to look down on him like, it's not that serious. He's doing too much. Or he's so desperate for me, I can disrespect him. I can say whatever I want to. I could do all the above because I know that he's just so lucky to be with me. I could treat him anyway. But when I say those things, there's always women, no, he's the one that has to do this and he's the one that has to do all these things and he's the one that has to do all these things. But, when this woman is saying the path of easiest resistance, it's not about the fact that, these women, because they didn't go to college, that they have less to bring to the table, or they're less intelligent, or that they don't know anything, or that they're dumb as a rock. It's not because these women might not have a certain caliber of beauty or whatever the case is that you think. It's not because, you know, you just have all these high standards and all these other women have the lowest standards. Sometimes it's just that these women completely understand how to deal with their male counterpart. Not talk down to him, not talk like they know more than him, not try to, you know, sound so, eloquent and intelligent, and try to express to him, or try to, tell him or dictate to him how he should be and how he should do things because you do that on the job. They just know exactly how to deal with a man. And I'm going to say this again. The reason why there are some women who just know inherently how to deal with a man is because they know what it means to be a woman. They're always studying. You know, most of the women who are talking in the manner that she is, that feel that they've arrived. The women who know how to deal with men, they never ultimately feel like they have arrived. They always understand that there's more work that you can do. Okay, you go to the gym. Okay, maybe you could try, doing this. Oh, you eat healthy. Maybe you could try doing that. They're always trying to self-reflect and elevate and grow and learn. And that constant, evolution within themselves, being the best version of themselves, and continually growing, and the humility to feel that they have room to grow is what keeps that spark alive and keeps that relationship flame going too as well. Because they always feel like they can do more, they can learn more, they can try to do this and try to do that. They're always thinking. A person who feels like they have arrived, that's just it. Oh, you can't lead me where? I already know. I have all the intelligence. Teach me what? I already know. I could teach you. I'm a professor. We have to spend a lot more time really diving deep into our feminine nature, our femininity, learning what it means to be a woman. I'll have to do a whole different video because that's going to take a long time to talk about that. Then trying to, men want this and men want that, and I'm going to do it. You will just naturally, again, be the counterpart when you put all that critique on what he's supposed to be doing into yourself. The same time you're taking to critique this man on what he don't got, you could look into yourself and say, what should I be learning from this situation? Sometimes, again, that's where a lot of women miss the mark. While they over there pointing the finger at him, talking about he needs to do this, he needs to do that, they should be looking inside of themselves and saying, what should I be doing? Okay, this is not the man that I am interested in or that I want to be with in the long haul, but what can I be learning from this situation? What questions can I ask him? What can I ask him about his experience with me? What can I be learning from this? Sometimes getting into it and getting out of it and saying, oh, no, I knew that wasn't going to work because I'm the prize. Sometimes that's the biggest issue. I'd like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' opinions on this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.